See what I said? Or else someone else, your enemy. That's a someone else because that's the only someone else that there is. In case y'all don't know, it's just two out here. It's you, if you consider yourself righteous, and then who else? Your enemy. It ain't nothing else, dog. And if you believe that there is, you're completely wrong. It's you and your enemy. So either employ her for the righteousness of God in the Garden of Eden to be able to help carry out the righteous commandments of God and employ her well. Place the yoke on the heifer. Because if you do not, your enemy will. Did you see what I'm saying? Does it make sense? Is that not what happened? If she's not busy doing the righteous work of Eden and helping to sow that seed and plow those fields, to grow Eden into a righteous and luscious place, a wonderful and healthy place for righteous people. If she's not busy doing that, she's going to do the work of the enemy. Place the yoke on the heifer for the righteous men. We know that you're strong in the power and the strength of God. We know through that strength you think you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. But other people in God still have life, and they have a duty in that life. And if you don't employ them properly, the enemy will.
It's hard to include others when you know that you could bear it all upon your shoulders. But I want to strive with you in truth. Yes, God gave you the strength to get it done, and trusting in me could be a gamble, but I'll do my best and pray for the rest. God puts his hand over us.
Put a yoke on the heifer. It's designed so we can strive together. With two in tow, we know the road is better. You could tote the load, bro's a go-getter. But that's not the question. The question's be told, it's not whether. You could carry the earth or change the weather. Has God told you to go alone forever? In the beginning, he put you with a born helper, and we all know that if that born helper, the one who resides beside your side, never gets the job that God assigned, ever will break the trust to bind you tied, sever. She has to work, so really, it's better that you put a yoke on the heifer.
Judges 14. Samson went down to Timnah, and at Timnah he saw one of the daughters of the Philistines. Then he came up and told his father and his mother, I saw one of the daughters of the Philistines at Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. But his father and mother said to him, Is there not a woman among the daughters of your kinsmen, or among all of our people, that you must go take a wife from the uncircumcised Philistines? But Samson said to his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well. His father and mother did not know that it was from the Lord, for he was seeking an occasion against the Philistines. At that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Then Samson went down with his father and mother to Timnah, and he came to the vineyards of Timnah. And behold, a young lion roared against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he tore the lion asunder as one tears a kid, and he had nothing in his hand. But he did not tell his father or his mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman, and she pleased Samson well. And after a while he returned to take her, and he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion, and behold, there was a swarm of bees in the body of the lion, and honey. He scraped it out into his hands, and went on eating as he went. And he came to his father and mother, and gave some to them, and they ate. But he did not tell them that he had taken the honey from the carcass of the lion. And his father went down to the woman, and Samson made a feast there, for so young the men used to do. For so the young men used to do. And when the people saw him, they brought 30 companions to be with him. And Samson said to them, "Let me now put the riddle to you. If you can tell me what it is within 7 days of the feast, and find it out, then I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 festal garments. But if you cannot tell me what it is, then you shall give me 30 linen garments and 30 festal garments." And they said to him, "Put your riddle, that we may hear it." And he said to them, "Out of the eater came something to eat, out of the strong came something sweet." And they could not in 3 days tell what the riddle was. On the 4th day they said to Samson's wife, "Entice your husband to tell us what the riddle is, lest we burn you and your father's house with fire. Have you invited us here to impoverish us?" And Samson's wife wept before him and said, "You only hate me, you do not love me. You have put a riddle to my countrymen, and you have not told me what it is." And he said to her, "Behold, I have not told my father nor my mother, and I shall tell you." She wept before him the 7 days, and on the 7th day he told her. She wept before him the 7 days that the feast lasted, and on the 7th day he told her, because she pressed him hard. Then she told the riddle to her countrymen, and the men of the city said to him on the 7th day, before the sun went down, "What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion?" And he said to them, if you had not plowed with my heifer, you would not have found out my riddle." And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he went down to Ashkelon, and killed 30 men of the town, and took their spoil, and gave the festal garments to those who had told the riddle. In hot anger he went back to his father's house, and Samson's wife was given to his companion, who had been his best man. This word of the Lord. Thanks be God, Father, Yah. Amen.
Anybody got something? I do. Anybody got something? Judges 14. What they name? Oh, Bear. Ephraim gets the first crack at it, birthday boy. Pick your choice. Not bad. Not bad. Pick your choice. Not bad. Okay, Kezia. The Price is Right. The Price is Right? Sound like what Bear is talking about. Scoop? Choose wisely and righteously? So you listening to what Bear's talking about? That's not bad though. But what? Moral relativity. Football. I see what you honed in on. I see what she honed in on. She said, this is confidential, dude. Marital confidentiality. Emmanuel. Stolen test scores. Isn't that something? Hannah. What happened to Hannah? He used to do one all the time. You got one? Hannah. All right then. It's Judges 14. Judges 14. All right, here we go. Judges 14. Place a yoke on the heifer. Place a yoke on the heifer. Oh, beginning the story of Samson. It's something of a story. The whole thing in this holy Bible, it's something of a story. It's a lot there. Some of this may have part 1 and part 2 to it. Maybe this chapter. It's a lot to learn from it too. Samson is a Nazarite from birth. As we read in the last chapter, that they said that he would have that type of strength straight from the womb of a man possessed with the Spirit of the Lord upon him, that would give him strength and power. There's something to be said of that, because he comes out of there like that, and they said the Spirit of the Lord was upon him and would move him around into the place where the Danites live. That's Dan. That's the tribe of Dan. And that's where he was, and they would be. And they lived in proximity to the Philistines that would be at the ford of the Jordan. We're going to find out some more about that later. But it was a practice for them at this time, of course, when they're going in and out of dominion. What I'm saying is they're in and out of basically the presence of the Lord. We can know that because they go through these periods where they at peace, and then it says they go through a period where they get dominated. And in the scripture itself, this time it says that the Philistines had dominion over them. But we already know, because what we read, that they had already supposedly had defeated the Philistines. You understand? And so they're going out of periods where they're at peace, which is the time when they say that they're close to God. And then periods where others exercise dominion over them, where obviously they're not close to God, because that's their covenant. We know that very well. And here they are at a time where the Philistines are kind of getting the better of them. And one of the practices of the men of Israel, okay, not just the Danites, but kind of everybody, but of course Samson is one of those men. And they will go down to the Jordan and do stuff, but then when they're going down into these areas, they come across the other different people that are surrounding in the area that share those places with them. They share the River Jordan. They're sharing those spaces that they had once dominated. And they run into people that had dominated them. One of the people that they run into is the Philistines, and they run into the women amongst the Philistines. And that's going to be a recurring problem for Samson, because the women amongst the Philistines got a different culture, and the Philistines got a different culture. Philistines got a different culture. That's what this is about. Because Samson is born into a different type of circumstance than a lot of men. It's some things that he might need to learn. Because Samson is born into a circumstance where he has such a Spirit of the Lord upon him, and that the Father is mighty in his life, that he I be getting stuff done on my own all the time. That's what this chapter is about. That Samson had come to be a man that understood that I don't need nobody, really. You can see those types of you can see that going on within the chapter where Samson is like, when I do have people around me, it's just for my entertainment. It's for me to just to have fun. But I don't really need these people at the end of the day. But Samson has to understand that everybody's here together and that everybody is either working together or working against each other. And that though you have a certain type of strength and resilience, everybody else is doing their thing too, and it matters. Samson has us sort of thinking like this, which you saw. I killed a lion with my bare hands. I mean, you may read these type of things into the scripture and then say to yourself, like, is that really a big deal? What? Especially when people don't do stuff like that. And when you don't do stuff, sometimes it's easy to be like, well, maybe it wasn't that hard. The man, the young man, Samson, killed a lion with his bare hands. And not only killed him, just ripped him open, straight down the middle. You know how thick the skin, you know how thick the skin is? And the fur and stuff? And the muscle and everything is on the lion? They didn't say that after he killed it, he went and got a sharp instrument and cut him. No. He killed him by ripping him in two. I'm just like, because I'm a man and I done did a lot of physical stuff, I'm over here thinking like, what manner of man is that? I'm over here thinking like, there's no way. What type of weightlifting program was he on? Like, what type of fast twitch muscles? I'm talking about really bionic. An actual a live lion that had all of his energy about him. They said it was a young lion, not an old one either. I wouldn't know the difference, first of all, between the young and old lion, and I don't want to know. But I'm to assume with this young lion that it had all of its energy, all its force about him. And they talking about they ran into each other and got face to face, and Samson defeated the lion by getting a hold of him and then just ripping him in two. I was just imagining that. How many times I had y'all read that scripture to me? I'm over here like, imagine that, like, wait. Then I'm translating that to myself and how I feel about myself. Because I'm pretty confident and self-sufficient. And I'm thinking like, dang, if I feel the way that I feel about myself and my abilities to get stuff done, how much did he feel? And that's why I came to the conclusion that he be like, I don't need none of y'all. You guys are literally around just for my amusement. I'm getting somewhere because here's the thing. Into that ego and into that type of confidence and into that type of ability is folly, because it's still, you still have to take into account the commandment of God, his purpose and his intent. Are y'all listening to me? Okay, let me restate that so y'all can be right with me. No matter what talent or skill that the Father gives you, because he's going to bless you with different types of talents and skills. And it will give you the ability to perform well beyond what other people can perform. And you can develop confidence in it. But no matter what he gives you, no matter what he gives you, when it boils down to it, his commandment and the way he designed this earth and the world and everything in it still stands. What am I saying? I'm saying that when the Father said that this man I created and he's going to need help, he meant that. Even for the man who is mighty. You see what I'm saying? He didn't say, I created this man and he gonna be straight all on his own, because that's what Samson is thinking. And and the thing is, I'm not even faulting him for thinking that way, because I'm thinking like, shoot, I think like that. And I clearly wasn't as intelligent as Samson or strong. I knew that right away. Because I'm sitting up here like, would I been able to figure out that riddle? I sat there for a long time thinking about that. And I'm sitting here thinking like, well, I already know that I wouldn't have been able to beat Samson hand to hand. That's for sure. But I'm thinking like I probably was smarter than him because he's dumb. By the way, I know he about to get played. You understand what I'm talking about? But then I had to start thinking back, like, is Samson one of those dudes that's all super strong and athletic, but they dumb? Because I know something like that. And then I had to check myself and I was like, no, he not. He's intelligent. Because I was thinking to myself, like, dang, that's a crazy way to put that riddle, man. And it's deep. And I'm like, golly, what all is he intending there? But it's the overconfidence, you understand, that's blinding him to the fact that God is still God. And his commandment has to stand because that's the way he designed it. You understand? And so I entitled this sermon, Put the Plow Onto the Heifer, dude. Because it's the weakness of the Philistine that helps them to understand that design. I didn't say that, it's who we know, that that the, I'm sorry, I said the plow, I said the yoke. That's what I meant. That's the title of the sermon. Put the yoke onto the heifer. I didn't say that you also not gonna put a yoke onto the bull. But when you do put them on, they need to be, the yoke need to be even. You understand? So that it could be pulled properly. You understand that? But the design of it is to have them side by side. You understand? And that really, the thing should only be moving as fast as what the heifer can move. Because she has to pull some of that weight. She must. Because that's the Father's design. And Samson doesn't understand it because he can pull it all on his own all the time and not get fatigued. And he think he could pull it with not only just himself and get it all done, but even if somebody else had a team of a heifer and a bull, he could outperform them. And even if somebody had a team of two bulls, he could outperform them. If somebody had a team of two bulls and two heifers, he could outperform them. That's what he's saying. So he's saying, why bother? All the rest of this human interaction is just for play for me because I can do it all on my own. That's a problem because it's outside the design of the Father. But the Philistines, in their weakness, do you see that? The Philistines not like Samson. They have stumbled across something. They said, shoot, man, if you make these women bear this burden and stuff like that, you might be straight. I want to show you something. I want to show you something. That righteous men get it up into their mind that they can handle everything. But even if you thought you could, it's not the way the Father designed it. Because what the righteous man is doing, he's out here getting it in the world, doing that, and then getting it at home and doing all that. And then this will happen. I'm talking about the world today. Look around you. And then he doesn't employ the righteous woman to do the work of the family, especially in this generation. What he's doing, and I've seen it, and I know this to be true, and just look around. He's saying, I'm going to be doing all this stuff. You're free to go off and do whatever type of work you want to do. You see that? I'm going to repeat that, and it's true. I'm going to do everything that I can for what we're trying to do as a family, and you're free to go off and do what you want to do. Now, you may could bring some money and stuff like that back home, and we can use that. But in general, you're free to go do what you want to do, however you feel like doing it. I'm not governing that. And we'll see how that works. And this is what I'm saying to you. That's not the Father's design, is wickedness. And it's what I'm saying to you. When she goes out to do that, guess who gets a hold of her? The uncircumcised Philistine. It's her boss. Did y'all see what I said? I'm saying a phenomenon that is men that's up in a house saying, I don't know how to really employ my wife. So I send her out and she come back, she's tired and stuff like that. Our interaction is not what it's supposed to be in many different ways. And then people have divorces. They have all types of breakups. They arguing over stuff and everything. He's saying, you coming in, you're not respecting me. You're not really taking care of the housework and kids like you're supposed to. But, you work. And she's saying, I work. I'm bringing in just as much money as you and this and that. And I'm just as intelligent as you and this and that and all of that. But at the end of the day, when she get to that job, she don't say nothing to the uncircumcised Philistine. That's her boss. Because he gets the best out of her. Are y'all listening? Because he gets the best out of her. Samson is dipping into another culture. It's good if he had stayed within his own culture and been able to select a wife. But he's dipping into another culture and then governing his family stuff according to that culture's stuff. You understand? And he's saying, I can be married to this woman, but she can still roam free. That's another culture's stuff. Because that's not how our Father said. The Father said, when y'all get together, she don't go nowhere. You guys become one, and she helps to govern the internal things of the familial operation. You guys become one. You're in a place together, and then you have dominion, and you give her my commandment, and then she takes that commandment to understand it in wisdom, and then she helps to govern the familial operations, and that's what she's going to help you to do. And she needs to be doing that. Put the yoke on the heifer. Right there in the Garden of Eden, put the yoke on the heifer. Employ her to do the righteous things of God, to make sure that Eden is a righteous place, to make sure that the dominion that the Father gave you is carried out. It's a must that she be employed that way. Or else, someone else, your enemy. See what I said? Or else, someone else, your enemy. That's a someone else because that's the only someone else that there is. In case y'all don't know, it's just two out here. It's you, if you consider yourself righteous, and then who else? Your enemy. It ain't nothing else, dog. And if you believe that there is, you're completely wrong. It's you and your enemy. So either employ her for the righteousness of God in the Garden of Eden to be able to help carry out the righteous commandments of God and employ her well. Place the yoke on the heifer. Because if you do not, your enemy will. Did you see what I'm saying? Does it make sense? Is that not what happened? If she's not busy doing the righteous work of Eden and helping to sow that seed and plow those fields, to grow Eden into a righteous and luscious place, a wonderful and healthy place for righteous people. If she's not busy doing that, she's going to do the work of the enemy. Place the yoke on the heifer for the righteous men. We know that you're strong in the power and the strength of God. We know through that strength you think you can do all things through Christ that strengthens you. But other people in God still have life and they have a duty in that life. And if you don't employ them properly, the enemy will. You see that? You don't put them to work. The enemy's sitting up there crouching at the door to see who has what? Empty hands to do what? Carry his water. So Samson, because he got it all in his hand, he lets his wife, who he should have known, but she was from another people anyway. But this could happen with a Hebrew woman. But as it is, he got a Philistine woman, so he should have known for sure. He letting her roam back and forth. First of all, what is it that these men have access to your wife like that? Did y'all consider that? But this is what I'm trying to say. That the righteous man is letting their wives go all around here, letting the Philistines have access to them. She go to work and every Philistine can tell her what to do. Why? Let me tell you something. You don't get to tell the women that they mess around with what to do. So they get all the unrighteous women, the wild women, the wicked women who ain't thinking about nothing, and they get all our righteous women too. Why? Because we so full of ourselves? Because we pity the wives that we with that are capable? Or we don't want conflict? What's the problem? Where you see all the men of God, all the righteous men, they got their wives working for the Philistines, coming home tired, and wonder why she got an attitude for you. Wonder why your family can't move forward. Wonder why y'all looking at divorce and separation and stuff. Wonder why stuff not, you can't conquer anything and move anything forward. You haven't employed her. You steady doing everything. I see more and more of these men doing everything. Now you see the guys, they getting custody of the kids when they do separate. It's just a sign of it. You see the women working all these hours. You see the women sticking their nose up into everything, dominating everything with the we can do it spirit. That's because the uncircumcised Philistine has plowed with your heifer. Did you see that? That's what Samson said. And if Samson was so legit, that's the thing about it too, because he was legit though. I'm not taking that from him. I don't want y'all to hear me say that and think that Samson really didn't have that work like that, because he was legit. But it's something that he didn't understand of what he understood internally still might have not been evident to people externally. Did you hear what I said? Because his own wife could have just said, hey, Samson, these dudes is talking about they're going to get after me. So she didn't perceive that what he perceived. Because he's the only one that knew that he ripped the lion in two with his bare hands. Her perception of him is not that he's the mightiest man that was alive and one of the mightiest men that would ever live. That's what I'm trying to tell you. In the space of her life, she never comprehended that she was married to one of the mightiest men that would ever walk the earth. Dang, what an oversight. She never understood that I got married, listen, not to like a strong man that's around my neighborhood. You understand what I'm talking about? Like, we had people in our neighborhoods like, dog, that's Junie over there, dog. He could do like 80 flips. What? Yeah, that's so-and-so, dog. I seen him do 200 push-ups. We knew that we had some dudes around us from time to time that was like little strong dudes in our hood. But we also thought to ourselves, that's still just our hood. It's probably somebody in all the world that's probably likely a lot stronger than that, but he's strong for our hood. Are you understanding? But then I'm saying that that's not Samson. I'm saying that Samson is not just what a strong man for your hood, and it's not just a strong man for the world, and it's not just a strong man for his time. I'm saying from the beginning of men that ever came onto the world. You understand? However far back that goes. All the way to the end of the last man that's going to ever live. However long that goes. He's the mightiest and strongest man ever. Consider that. And she was married to him. The mightiest and strongest man ever. So I'm talking about like when we know that David also killed the lion and the bear and he slayed Goliath and then he killed 10,000 Philistines. No, David. You don't want to see Samson because he like that. You do that, David. Square up with Samson. No, not something you want to do. You see what I'm talking about? And she was married to him, and then the dude's gonna come and say to her, if you don't tell us his secret, we're gonna run up on you and your daddy. She had no perception of who she was with, because she would have just been like, hey, Samson, them dudes over there said something to me. And he'd be like, who? Wait, what? Yeah, they said something to me. What'd they say? They said they was gonna burn my house down, my daddy's house down. Oh, okay, hold up right quick. I'll be right back. You see what I'm talking about? She had no concept of it, of what Samson had in him and what he was able to do. You see. So Samson is moving around like people are aware of that, and they're not. People don't know what you got going on. And so her thought process is, well, what am I going to do? Because Samson lets me roam free. He never told me these are your duties as my wife. Because Samson, like, you don't got to do nothing. I'm like that. Just be pretty. And she like, you don't understand. God didn't create me like that. I have energy. I want to be busy too. I want to do some things. And Samson should have said, well enough, then do this. Do this righteous thing. Do these string of righteous things until you tire yourself out. But all means, you don't get to roam around and mess around and run into some Philistine men because they're going to employ you to wickedness. You don't get to run around doing whatever, listening to what the world is talking about because the world is going to employ you to wickedness. You don't get to sit around all day up into Eden doing nothing because Satan's going to find you sitting down. He's crouching down right next to you. He's going to employ you to wickedness. Put a yoke onto the heifer. We all have to bear some burden on behalf of our Father. That much Christ told us. Yes or no? Well, then pick up your cross and, hey. Samson gonna run into some real wild women, but this one, as it is at least a Philistine, but she wasn't totally completely wild. But Philistines run up on her and threaten her, and then she gives it. He gave her the information or whatever of the riddle, talking about out of the eater came something to eat, out of the strong came something sweet, and the double entendre, the entendre of it is that this thing that we know from the beginning that was manipulated by Satan, that we should know that it has a destiny separate from Satan that God had pre-decreed for her. That from the mouth of the destroyer, in other words, from his clutches, from his design from the beginning, if we hearken back to what the Father originally intended, then we know that she can produce. And we can't forget that. Do you understand? Because it's really two ways of looking at it. If you're a righteous man, if I'm a righteous man and I'm sitting there and I'm reading the Holy Scriptures, then I'm saying two things. I'm saying, well, if you're telling me that this is what Eve had done, then I'm saying I should stay away from her. Do you see that? You see what I'm saying? Because she brought that foolishness and she's constantly being employed by Satan to disrupt things. You see that? That's one response. Satan is the destroyer. He gonna eat us all if he can. It's what he desires. He wants to eat us all. And if we look at that issue, then we say, well, shoot, she be with him. I need to stay away from her. Or you can look back to what the Father intended and say, no, that's not the way that it was created. But if instead of Satan finding her into the night to cause her to be in alignment with the work of the destroyer, the great eater of humankind. If instead him finding her chilling like a villain, she was employed to righteousness, then there's no way he could get up in her ear and employ her to wickedness. So I'm saying to the righteous man, you got two options really as presented to you. You can leave her alone completely, but it doesn't mean that Satan's not going to employ her in some way. Or you could go back behind that and say, the Father created her for me to be able to help me. And even though I know that he also created me in his image and likeness, that makes me powerful with dominion. She also has a purpose. Here, come and do this righteous work and stay busy. Or the destroyer, that great eater of humankind, is going to eat us all. Or either your work can feed us, bearing good fruit. And out of the strong, those mighty men of valor. The work that we put in front of our Father, will then those hands be responsible for giving the world something sweet? A wonderful, wise, wonderful woman. It's the duty of the strong, righteous men to give the world these sweet, wonderful women. That's a part of our work. That will bear the great fruit, you see. That will bear wonderful fruit. That we can live peacefully. Do y'all understand the riddle? Place the yoke. On the heifer. I bless you in the name of our Father, Yah. That he will cause his face to shine upon you, that he will lift up his face to shine upon you, cause his face to shine upon you, that he will be gracious to you all the days of your life and give you peace, that he will lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. I pray this in his most holy name, my Father, Yah, in the name of the Son of Christ, the Messiah, Yeshua, in the name of our Father, Yah's most holy Spirit, Yahweh. Amen.